happy, what? Oh my God, Monday. If you're watching this right now, the day that it comes out, I got married yesterday. Yeah, I am currently, as this video goes up, asleep. Not to be heard from for a long time, because I am not a naturally born social butterfly, and this kind of thing overwhelms me. So I'm sure that I had a beautiful, wonderful wedding, but now I'm sleeping it off. So that's where I'm at in real time right now, time travel. But today is not actually that day, it's a week from that day. So I am going to be trying today a very exciting product. We're going to be playing with the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation. You guys know that I am in love with the Conceal and Define concealer. This is a really beautiful concealer. I've fallen in love with it recently because it is very illuminating. It's not high coverage. It doesn't have that like dry creaminess that a lot of concealers have. It doesn't get super crepey underneath my eyes, which is a challenge because I feel like the underneath of my eyes is just dry and crepey. A couple of you guys recommended that I try this. It does have a pretty wide shade range. It's got 24 shades, but I looked at the shade range and it still leaves a little to be desired in the deep dark department because, you guys, I ordered F6 and F6.5 for myself. There should not be two shades that close in range that both match my skin. So we'll see if that's actually true. But I'm really excited to do a wear test on this today because I just have really high hopes for it. It is, yes, a full coverage foundation and all of that entails. So I know that that's not always my aesthetic, but I'll keep that in mind. Testing this for people who are going to want a full coverage foundation. That is my object today. So I'm gonna zoom you guys in. We're gonna start putting this on my face, and I don't know, we can talk a little bit more about these products. Hello! Oh, my lights are crooked back there. Are they crooked, or is my camera crooked? Or is my life crooked? They're not crooked is the problem, which means that my camera's crooked. No! Okay, so let's go ahead and prime my face. I don't think there's anything left in here. Dang it! Plan B, we're gonna go, although that was actually an okay amount of product, we're gonna go in with the Becca primer that I actually really liked the other day, the First Light Priming Filter. We're illuminated, we're primed, let's put on some makeup. I'm anticipating that this is going to work better with a sponge. We will try both, but I don't know. Something about full coverage just says sponge to me. Since I have two colors here, let's go ahead and see, because I ordered these online. Let's see which one kind of matches my skin better. So here we have F6.5, which is still very yellow, very light. And then this is F6, which is supposed to be, I think, lighter? And she's a little darker. Or maybe just more neutral on me. We will use the light one as like highlight and most of my face, and the other one we'll just use as a little bit of a contour. So to recap, F6.5 is lighter than F6, and we're going to go on most of my face with F6.5. I'm just gonna start on one side because I anticipate that this is gonna dry down pretty quickly because it's full coverage. So I wanna get it spread out. I don't wanna get it all over my face and then try and spread it out if it like dries on one side really fast. So we'll do one of these. Yeah, not like a huge fan of this applicator. I'm gonna take F6 here and go kind of there. I mean, the difference is subtle, but who knows? I have no idea if this is gonna like oxidize or something, so, you know, a little bit of that. And we're going to start with a sponge on this side and just blend this out. This is a newer sponge from Thrive. I find that it's easier to clean. It doesn't soak up as much of the product as a lot of other beauty sponges, and so it hasn't broken me out. The other ones tend to like, no matter how well I clean them, they tend to get really germy. And I know that there are different ways of cleaning them, like putting them in the microwave and stuff. Let me know what your favorite method is for getting one clean, although it really was like one of you guys who first told me that sponges broke you out. And I was like, oh my god, maybe that's what's breaking me out. It might just be that this one's really new, you know? Okay, that was like ridiculously easy. That was so easy, so beautiful. Look at that. And that is really, I mean, you can still see my freckles, but I mean, I think once I get powder on, it's definitely gonna be super full coverage. Very, very pretty. Feels very lightweight on the skin. I am anticipating it going matte on me, which kind of freaks me out, but it's okay. We also put kind of a nice creamy primer underneath, so hopefully that'll help. Let's do the same thing on the other side, and we will go in with a makeup brush and try blending it that way. What is this? 6.5. Yeah, oddly, this like little doe foot doesn't pick up as much product as you would think. Like, I don't know. I would think that it would just like, I don't know, it reminds me of like the Fenty doe foot. This is a look. Hi! Working on my night cheese. But yeah, I don't know, it's just interesting. I've never really had a foundation that you apply like a concealer like this. Okay, going in with my little It Cosmetics, what are you called? It's just an airbrush, full coverage complexion brush. And gonna try and spread her out with this. So this foundation is $12 for a pretty large amount. Each of these has 0.8 fluid ounces in it for $12. Well, let me zoom you guys in here. And by that I mean zoom myself in here. So the way that this looks when you first put it on with a sponge is I think it's really pretty. Like it kind of bounces into the pores a little bit more in a more blurred way, whereas putting it on with a brush, I feel like it kind of like digs it in and kind of misses the pores a little bit. It just kind of spreads it out in not a very pretty way. So I'm actually gonna go back over this side with a sponge. I don't really hate either one, but it's just like I prefer this with a sponge. Some people say, and I don't know, it's like some people are really adamant about, they're like, oh, a brush always puts more product on the skin, and then some people are like, a sponge always puts more product on the skin, and they always talk about it like the other person is so stupid for thinking the other way around. I really think that they're just different. And it also really matters which foundation you're talking about. Also, deep apologies for Friday's video where I got played by my foundation and it just started like collecting on the inside of my mouth. That was disgusting. We're going to now go in with the Conceal and Define Concealer, and I am in the shade C2. I have used C1 also, which is also very pretty. Again, they do have a very in-depth shade range, but I do feel like it skews very heavily towards, you know, the white girl. I don't feel like I need very much of this. I don't know. I don't want to put a ton on because I feel like this is already pretty full coverage, but also I usually use it to like highlight, and I don't know, maybe the color just isn't as like high contrast against the foundation or something, but it just doesn't really feel all that necessary because I did get so much coverage out of the foundation. All right, no complaints so far. That went on really, really beautifully and the color match is staying pretty true. I'm going to put some powder on as fast as I can. I'm going to go in with my trusty Filtered Effects Soft Focus HD Setting Powder from Thrive Cosmetics on my big, fat, fluffy brush here. Get some skincare on my face here. I really, really love this powder. And like I said, this does tend to increase the opacity on your foundation a little bit, so if it wasn't completely full coverage, it's gonna look very full coverage now. All right, I'm gonna hit that with a setting powder real quick. A setting powder. We're gonna hit it with a setting spray. And to avoid concealer lips, let's go ahead and just get this off of here while everything is still wet. So I am going to go put on the rest of my makeup, and I kind of feel like revisiting the Emily edit today. I don't know why. So we'll see what I come up with. I'll be right back. I honestly don't know what's compelling me to do this right now, other than the fact that I don't want to just have a foundation wear test today. I want to give you guys something to watch, and you know, I'm gonna do this anyway, so I might as well put it on camera. So I want to go back into the Emily edit, the Wants. This has been taken offline. It has been, I guess, recalled. There was like certain batches that they say like weren't up to snuff quality-wise. I don't know if I got one of those, but Tati really brought the attention to this palette again last week when she talked about the girl who made the like retaliatory video against her, basically trying to shoot her review full of holes and being really rude about it. So instead of going with all of the like wine colored mattes that I went with before, which are the same ones that she went with that are just very frustrating to work with, I'm gonna try and just go for a really neutral, muted eye today that's gonna be very like everyday for me. So we're going to just kind of work in like the cream, Midwest, hobby, and maybe go like top story on the lid. Just follow along with me. This isn't gonna be like a tutorial or anything. I just want to give all of these another chance. Because like I said, we don't really get a chance to try like exhaustively every single palette, and this palette has 24 shades in it. So I mean, there's no eye look that you can do and include all 24 shades and actually show their capabilities. So let's just give Emily another go. So I'm going with a white shade all over the primer that I have on my eyes right now. And we're going to be really cautious, just knowing kind of like how it went last time for me. And I really chalked it up to user error, but after watching Tati coincidentally use very similar shades to me, I realized maybe it wasn't that much my fault. I honestly really don't care about the pushback anymore, because I see that there is just kind of an army of Emily's viewers that like are coming for everybody who said anything about that palette, and even Emily has kind of discouraged it. I'm going to start kind of up here in my transition area with Midwest, which is this pretty warm tan color. And I'm gonna try and just play it safe today. See if playing it safe can at least get something wearable out of this palette. I don't think that it's a huge dud, you know what I mean? I just think that like I went for shades that maybe were the lowest performing in the whole palette, I'm not sure. Okay, so the color payoff there is, it's okay, it's a little bit patchy, it's a little bit tough to blend, but I think that, you know, we can make it work, and it kind of blends into the white that's already down there pretty well. And then I'm going to go with a tiny, like, little Makeup Geek crease brush here, and I'm going to go into Dues Paid, which is another kind of warm brown, and just kind of build that crease a little bit. When you're building your crease, especially if you have to kind of exaggerate it like I do, it helps to really look straight forward into a mirror instead of like, you know, trying to like see exactly like into your crease or something, because then you're seeing reality. And also take your brush and, I mean, yes, you know, it's valuable to kind of shade and stuff, but when you get to like actual color placement, it helps to go directly in with your brush, because then you know the color is going to end up where you want it. I will say though, even these just like neutral shades, they're not a pleasure. Like even that Royal Affair palette that we worked with on, what? Wednesday last week? Jeez, God, I'm like, I don't know what day it is. The BH Cosmetics palette, like that thing was a pleasure. And I think that putting on makeup should be fun. It should be a pleasure. Like even these shades, I'm really working to get them to work. And that's not Emily's fault. These are formulations that are by Makeup Revolution. All right, gonna go back into the cream right here with that same brush, tap it off here, and just blend up into the brow bone. And I'm taking that pretty high. I like get in the habit of pulling this brow bone highlight down too far. And you'll see that, you know, in some of my older videos, like what's happening right now, I end up with this big gap. And so you kind of want to still bring more color, like local color, up very close to the brow bone if your eyes are kind of shaped like mine, because otherwise it'll just make your brow bone look like that. Like it's just this big oval shape sitting on the front of your face and the rest of your eye looks really sunken in. So I'm taking Midwest, that medium brown, and just kind of blending up into there. I laid a good bit of product on with the white underneath my brow bone so that there was something to blend into. See? And that's just a little bit better. I don't know. I still have like a really prominent brow bone. Okay, I'm gonna take Top Story and I'm going to go all over my lid with that with my finger here. Just go very simple, gold. No halo eye or anything, just a nice smoky satiny gold. And even this shade, I'm gonna be honest, it's not giving me like all of the creaminess that I would hope for from a nice satiny shade. Like, it looks pretty on the eye, but it doesn't really want to, it doesn't want to move around very well. Like, when I spread it with my finger, it lays down and it packs down, but it's just not it doesn't feel creamy. Creamy is definitely what I'm looking for in a shade like this. But, I mean, you know, we can make it work. That's absolutely beautiful. So we're gonna go in now and kind of finish the look with Apartment. I'm gonna be really, really careful with this. And it's a really deep kind of cool tone brown. And just try and finish out the crease with this and blend a little bit. I really have to kind of give myself a little more credit than I give myself usually. I think that most of the time I assume that if something is bad, it's because I don't know what I'm doing. But I've worked with enough palettes at this point to at least know what, even if I make an ugly look out of it, I at least know what a good shadow feels like and when I'm having to work too hard. And I would say that on a scale of like horrible to great, I would give these like a 6. Not a 1, but not a 9, you know? Gonna take Midwest as our kind of mixing medium here and blend up from there. Try and I want like a little bit of definition between the gold and the rest of the eye, but then I want this to be a really, really smooth transition over here. So I'm just using the very tip of my brush with a little bit of Midwest, which is that original transition shade that we used, and I'm using that, like I said, as kind of a mixing medium to blend everything that's already on my eye. And really, my brush kind of runs out of product eventually, and then I'm just sort of blending what's already there, which is fine. And I'm going to actually dampen this brush because we're going to use this on the inner corner. This is the Sigma eyeliner brush, but it's also just a really good little pointy brush. Where's my pretentious water? And going to go into Oh Heavens, which is this kind of, and you can see I just sprayed water all over my mirror because I always do. Right here, this really pretty kind of pearly color. And wipe my mirror off because I'm a disaster. Nope, that's not gonna work. Pencil brush? Yeah, we're gonna use the Makeup Geek pencil brush. That's a little bit better. Yeah, going on that inner corner. It's disappointing. It sucks. It sucks that this is a very beautiful palette that is pretty underperforming in terms of the actual formula of the shadows, because these shades are really pretty, and we saw, at least in my opinion, in that BH Cosmetics palette last week that, you know, performance doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Okay, gonna go underneath my lash line really quickly here with one of my Thrive flat brushes that I love so very much. Going to use Top Story again, just that really pretty gold. I will never pass up an opportunity to stick gold underneath my lash line. I think that sometimes I even get afraid to give something a bad review or be super honest about it, just because if it's bad. If it's good, I'm okay being super honest about it, but sometimes I get scared to say that something's bad because I am afraid that it's like my skills that are bad. And so a lot of times I do give a product the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, I'm always like the first to admit when a palette kicked my ass and I like had to start over on a tutorial or something. So, you know, that said, like that was really my logic behind the Emily edit. I almost didn't put that video up because I thought I did such a bad job. And I don't know, using it now again, this is really the first time that I've touched it since then. And I can just say that, like, you know, yes, you can get a really beautiful look out of these shadows with some practice, but Is it going to be a palette I would reach for like above all the other palettes that I already own? No, and I definitely wouldn't recommend spending your money on it. All right, let's throw on a liner and some mascara real quick. I'm just gonna use a brown liner from Thrive. This is the waterproof infinity eyeliner in the shade Nally, who I actually know Nally. Very blurred. So I do really love the colors that we ended up with on my eye. Like, I think that that's actually really gorgeous. It was a lot of work to get there. Gonna take a little flat angle brush here from Thrive and just blur. We love a blur. Push that into the lash line. Going to throw on a wee bit of mascara here. By wee bit, I never mean a wee bit. I like to wear eyeliner even just a little bit, because then when I inevitably push this brush through my eyelashes and get it on my eye, you can't see it as much. That just got everywhere. But once I can say this is mine, you can't take it. We had a lot of contenders for our first dance song, but I finally decided the first, the last, my everything by Barry White, because that song's awesome. If anyone knows what the, I don't know, what you think that the sentimental value of that song might be to me, leave it in a comment below. I'm gonna add a little bit more blush because once you get the eye look on, a lot of times you find that you can do it. So I'm going in with this, I love this guy. This is a large powder brush F30 from Sigma. And I had the Milani Luminoso on, but now I'm putting on some of the Heartthrob from Makeup Geek. It is my new favorite. Okie dokie, my artichokes. I'm gonna give this one last spritzy here so that you guys know that I'm doing everything that I can to give this foundation its best shot. Alright guys, low key, this foundation is beautiful. I am, like I said, fully prepared for the fact, especially after testing the BH Cosmetics foundation the other day, fully prepared for the fact that this is going to break up in a way over the course of the day that is not my favorite. However, at least at this exact moment, this is reading very satin, not super duper duper matte. It's beautiful. It's $12 and it's really smooth and pretty, and the makeup goes on really nicely on top of it. One of the things that drives me crazy about any foundation is that I have to powder it to death to get it to dry down. That was not the case with this powder, and it's very humid today. It's just on and off raining, and so I was kind of expecting a sticky situation, and I did not have a sticky situation. This feels very nice on my skin. It is 10 a.m. I'm going to wear this for the rest of my day and come back at the end of the day and let you guys know how it went. You guys know how foundation wear tests work. I've got some editing to do and some really just chilling hard to do today. It's a Sunday. I'm gonna go get to doing that, and I will see you guys in several hours. Hello! It's been 8 hours on this here Face O makeup, and the lights, as usual, are making things look so much better than they really are. So let's go ahead and show you guys what reality looks like, shall we? I feel like this foundation, this Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Foundation, makes me look really old and cakey. You might not be able to see it. Again, everything's doing me too many favors, but it's super drying, and it's just kind of like it has just sucked my skin dry. Underneath my eyes feels really crazy. I wonder if I can even like do one of those. Does that help? Oh, if I look at myself closely in a mirror, oh man, it's really hard to see. It feels kind of like clay on my skin. It's breaking down to individual little dusty particles. I just have higher standards for my foundation than this. The BH liquid foundation that we did last week, that one got really greasy on me. This has not done that, at least. So if you are an oily skinned gal and you like a good matte, like suck you dry, keep it all in all day kind of feeling, and you only want to spend 12 bucks, this might be the foundation for you. It looks like I'm wearing a lot of makeup, and that is my least favorite way to look. I think that no matter what, even if you're going to wear a full coverage foundation, you can look flawless and not look like you're wearing a ton of makeup. For example, this does the job. The Natasha Denona Foundation X. Where's my Luscious? My Luscious Cosmetics camera stick, which I have obviously, gotten done using pitched across the room somewhere, does a good job of it. The It Cosmetics Bye Foundation does a good job of that, of just being full coverage and still flexing with your face. The eyeshadows, after all of that work to get them to go on, they stayed put pretty well. I'm gonna say I don't think that the glitter payoff on the gold stuck around as long as I would have liked. It's still very pretty. But to be honest, I haven't been through much today. I went and ate a taco, did some editing. We haven't really been in a lot of elements today. Can you guys recommend any drugstore foundations that are not full coverage matte? I feel like that is what drugstore does. But yeah, I would like to kind of expand a little bit more into lower price points so that we get a full range of things. We don't want to just be a luxury channel at the end of the day. I want to keep an open mind. I really love the drugstore side of Ulta. I think it's a lot of fun. So let me know, and yeah, I hope that this was helpful. It's hard sometimes with foundation reviews because unless it's like, oh my god, knock it out of the park, or oh my god, I hate it, and we're really just kind of like feeling it out, splitting hairs. But I try and give you guys an idea of what I think it did with my skin type, how I think it would react with other people's skin type, and how I think it performed for the price and for the expectation. If this was helpful, guys, give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you guys did. Thank you so much for watching, for hanging out with me today, guys. I love you, and I am asleep right now, and I will see you in the next one.